Grand Rising Wonderful Souls, and welcome to Bronwen's Cove Tarot. This is a timeless collective reading on what is coming forward. I am Bronwen. Welcome, welcome. If you are a new face, it's good to have you here. If you are a returning subscriber, it's good to have you back. I'm going to be ringing a bell just to cleanse the space around us. If you have any type of sound sensitivity, please turn down your listening device in 3, 2, and 1. Now, I was really guided to speak on Chiron, and Chiron is a comet. It's an actual comet, but in Greek mythology, it was seen as a centaur that would help everyone else and heal everyone else, but didn't know how to heal themselves. And Chiron is, you will find Chiron within, it's a placement within your birth chart, your natal chart, usually between Saturn and Uranus, or Uranus. Chiron looks at the things that we want to strive to heal within the world around us, but also it's one of our deepest wounds. Knowing what our Chiron is so impactful on how we lead very fulfilling lives. And that's my opinion from learning what mine is, because then I found out that, you know, your Chiron is part of your passion's lead. It's part of your purpose. Now I had to write down all of the different, I wrote down some information on them. So if you want to figure out like what the symbol is for Chiron, it looks like a K standing on top of like a squished O, almost like a key. And it's because it was discovered by someone called Charles Noel, or Cowell, excuse me, in 1977. And they just took his two initials and put them on top of each other. And I also wrote down the note of, or the download of truth tellers, and what is a truth teller and what are the effects of truth telling on later development from a child. And I feel like they are linked together, especially if you have Chiron in your fourth, your third, your fourth, maybe even your first house. And I'll tell you why, because if your Chiron is in your first house, it looks at how that would relate to leadership and autonomy and even failure, or the feeling of failure. In your second house, it's to do with finances, pleasure, aesthetics, pride, and self-worth. In your third house, it's communication with others, being excluded, loneliness. Your fourth house looks at your home life and family relationships, you know, childhood as well. Fifth house is creativity and inner child joy and being dismissed. Your fifth house is perfectionism, overachievers, overworking, setting too high standards for yourself or others, or feeling like it's almost, this comes into self-worth as well. The seventh is abandonment, insecurities in relationships. The eighth looks at control and disempowerment. Autonomy of choice is the ninth house, and the 10th house is needing approval and respect to their own detriment. The 11th is isolation, and 12th is balancing emotional reactions to others' words. Now, I didn't know this until I started going down this rabbit hole of learning about Chiron, that your Chiron return will hit you roughly around when you're 50. And I just got like a light bulb moment of, that's why they call it a midlife crisis, because you hit 50 and you're then reassessing, almost like the Seven of Pentacles, looking back at how far you've come. And sometimes we hit 50 and we haven't actually looked at that wound. We haven't actually healed the things that we needed to heal, because sometimes we're spiritually asleep, or sometimes it's really scary to look at those things. And for others, when you see, you know, for example, those who go out and buy big sports cars, or they just start dating people much younger than them, it's almost like they're grasping for the youth that they feel was misspent or they never had. And now they're trying to live their teenage years again. So it makes a lot of sense that is the Chiron return. It usually only comes once in our life. I mean, if you hit 100, you're going to have it twice. But down here, I've written, this is why we call it a midlife crisis. Chiron return focuses on the wounds that you struggle with. How have you healed from it? What lessons did you learn? It's about karma, life lessons, and your life path. So let's see why we wanted to, or why our guides really wanted us to have a look at this. So let me pop this over here. And I've been told to go one by one, so I might actually look at each house. So we're going to start off with Aries, the first house. So if you have Chiron in Aries, The things that we would be looking to heal are to do with leadership and autonomy and the sense of failure. So tell us what we need to know about the first house. So the first house, 10 of Wands has come out here. I think this is pushing against the tide. The 10 of Wands is usually a burden of having to carry the weight of the world. And also this is very interesting that for this deck, the 10 of Wands has come out as fire, because Aries are very fiery. There may be this want to do things yourself, or knowing that you could do it better. And I'm not saying that in a negative light, because you have to remember that your Chiron is not just about what you heal within yourself. It's what you wish to help heal within the community or the world around you. So this could be a sense of not just injustice, but do you know what? That leader, that boss, they're not doing the job right, or they're, you know, they're mistreating people, and going, actually, I want to strive to do better. Maybe I can become that leader. If that is the burden, or that is the wound, what's the salve? How do we heal this? What's the focus for healing? The Lovers. This is shadow. This deck is really lovely. This is called the Fifth Spirit Tarot, because in this deck, the Lovers is not looking at another person, it's looking within yourself. So this is very much to do with shadow work. What is it that you see within others when it comes to authority, or when it comes to leadership, or sense of failure, like having to carry things that you feel that you see within yourself? Because it's usually a projection, isn't it? The fact that we have a number 6 here, this is also to do with, this is without a doubt to do with work. It doesn't have to be just work. But the 6th house looks at work routine. It looks at our work ethic as well. And as a Virgo, I'm very much, I take pride in my work. So I can vouch for that. But this here is looking at how you mirror parts of yourself out into the world. So what you are seeing in other people is a reflection of what you feel of yourself. And I know that can sound, I heard, very irritating. That can be very irritating for someone to tell you that when you're feeling angry with, there's anger or frustration when it comes to, why am I getting work dynamics specifically, or taking on quite a lot here? Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, someone here wants an easy life. Don't we all? Don't we all want an easy life? We do not want the conflict. We do not want to have to carry that burden. But the way that you heal that in yourself, and then how you help to raise the collective consciousness, is by facing that, by looking at that lovingly. Though there's something here about nurturing it, because this is also, the 6th house also looks at your nutrition. It looks at fitness. There is a need to find ways of channeling the stress or the burdens or anger through physical activity, through the things that you eat, through the people that you're around, especially your heart space. Okay, the Ace of Pentacles coming out is don't ignore that, because if you do, it's that energy of when you hit 50 and you have that Chiron return. Those are the things that are going to be affected, either your health, or, because do you know what? I read a post and I was like, oh, is that true? The reason why there are so many people that end up with autoimmune is because of repressed anger. And, you know, I do believe in somatic release. I really, really do. If this is resonating for you, especially as having Chiron in your first house, there is a need and like almost like not an urgency, but a real encouragement from your guides to be focusing on how you channel that into physical activity, or how you channel that into the things that you eat, but there's exercise is really important. Boxing, painting, moving, how you move that energy. Gut health is really important. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to move on to the 2nd house. So if you have a Chiron wound in the 2nd house, which is usually Taurus, I'm just looking over here. It says finances, pleasure, aesthetics, pride, and self-worth. So can we have a look at how this wound shows up, please? How does this wound show up, please? To the 2nd house, please and thank you. Do you want me to change decks? Okay. I'm going to change decks. How does this wound show up, please? Because there's an unwillingness here to bug on something. Stubbornness, maybe. How does Chiron Wound in Taurus, second house, show up, please? Oh my goodness. And it's coming out as the Seven of Cups. Okay. It may be coming out with, there's not so much as stubbornness as it is almost like not wanting to see what the issue is. You've got Page of Cups in reverse on the back of the deck, but the Seven of Cups here, even with this bird with their wings out, this is very bougie. This gives me the energy of like those who like the finer things in life and who doesn't, you know, but it's doing it to excess is what I'm hearing. And it may be like over gifting, over giving, as well as overspending, overeating. I heard filling the void, and you're being asked not to do that. Do not feel like you have to overgive to others for your self-worth or to gain value or to feel useful, okay, or feel valued within a community. There's a need to be able to nurture yourself, but not to the point of gluttony. And I am not judging you in any way, shape or form. These are just the messages that are coming through. Okay, the Seven of Cups is about illusion. It can be about the things that we don't see, or feeling like we have so many options that we don't know which one to pick. Now, as a wound coming up, especially when we're talking about aesthetics, pleasure, finances, pride, self-worth, there is a need here to be very careful that you are not pouring into someone else's cup. I'm getting, especially with the Page of Cups in reverse, that you're not pouring into other people that literally are only there because they think they can get something from you. Can we get advice, please? Advice on how to heal this. You've got the Ten of Cups coming out. Okay, the Ten of Cups here to the Wheel of Fortune. I had to put that back. Okay, so the Ten of Cups coming out is a really beautiful card, especially when it comes to how you heal this and how you, but it's a slow journey is what I'm hearing. You don't get to the, from, you know, the Ace of Cups to the Ten of Cups very quickly. This is a full journey. This is taking time to fill your cup. I feel like whoever it is that has a Chiron wound in their second house, you give so much to others, or there's something here about constantly like consumerism, or constantly having to give, constantly building up other people as well as yourself, but in a material way. You're being told to take your time. This is looking at the Ten of Cups is a happy family life. It's happy home. There may be an encouragement here to go back to childhood and to do, I heard immersive therapy, immersive something, where you go back and there's a need to plant those good memories and focus on those. Can I get some clarity on that? Because I felt also there was like a bit of resistance in this. I don't know if somebody like hides behind their trinkets or hides behind how they help others. Yeah, you've got the Ace of Wands coming out, and you've also got the Page of Cups coming out for you as well. And then you have the Ace of Pentacles. So I don't know, this is very much helping others. I don't know if you have children. I don't know if children are very important, or having children are very important. Your childhood was very happy. I don't know if you were given lots of things as a child as a way of affection or showing value, because the Page of Cups is in reverse. If you were given things, but that's almost like your love language, you're being told not to be ashamed of your love language. If your love language is gift giving or receiving gifts or monetary value and stuff like that, there's nothing wrong with that. It's about moderation and knowing when to kind of cut yourself off and go, actually, I'm doing this to fill a void, or I'm giving to other people, rather than building that emotional connection because of fear of what? Because of fear of what, please and thank you. Because of fear of what? Show me what I need to see, please. Why Page of Cups? 5 of Cups. Judgment in reverse to the Queen of Swords. This is like a fear of boundaries. I don't know. There seems to be like a fear of boundaries or how other people will judge you. Okay. So can I get one more card, please, on what tools we use to work on healing this? You've got the 7 of Wands in reverse. The 7 of Wands in reverse is telling whoever this is that this resonates with, especially if this is the Chiron wound in the 2nd house, that you don't need to compete. There's no need for you to compare or compete. There may be something going on here with like a childhood wound that's linking into this. And I don't know why I keep getting the need to revisit this, but to revisit happy memories. I hope that resonated for you. I'm going to move on to the 3rd house, which is Gemini, which is communication with others and being excluded or loneliness. Where would you like me to go? This one? Okay, let's have a look. Oh no, it's not that one. It's this one over here. Okay, for Gemini, what do we need to know about this wound, this Chiron wound, when it comes to communication with others and being excluded and loneliness? Because the thing is, I was just thinking I could have made each of these readings a bit longer and then talked about, you know, how you help the community around you. But I think it's really important that as we go through these, that we are focusing on self first, because the way that you're able to pour out into the community is by balancing self, right? So let's find out. This is number 3. How does this wound show itself? Oh my goodness. Okay. 10 of Swords is coming out. Okay, it shows itself through monumental or big canon events happening in someone's life here. And for the thing is that even though I have up here messages talking about truth tellers, I feel like those who have wounds, who have a Chiron wound in their 3rd house, are the truth tellers. They are the ones that speak up and will almost like call people out for their behavior even when young, not because they're being sassy or having an attitude, just because they see what they see and they know what feels comfortable and what doesn't. And I don't know if part of this wound for those who have, you know, Chiron in their 3rd house is feeling like you're being stabbed in the back, or feeling like speaking your truth, you will not be you won't be held in a safe space. It's almost like having a fear of your own voice, a fear of your own intelligence, so you dumb it down, or feeling, it's almost like imposter syndrome. I think that's more what it is, imposter syndrome. Can you tell me, please, Spirit, what tools do we need? How do we heal this? How do we heal this, please, and thank you? Oh my gosh, we've got the 7 of Rods here, and we've also got, oh my gosh, everything's throwing itself, an Empress. Okay, so there is a need for those who have Chiron, a Chiron wound in their 3rd house in Gemini, to have a look at things that they feel that disempower them and then fight back against that. And what I mean by that is, it's almost like challenge yourself to trust yourself more. Because if you grew up in a household where your voice was quietened or dismissed or mocked, or you were just made to feel smaller than, it's almost like you are constantly surveying whoever it is that you are speaking to, the space that you're in. You know, there's that constant, or maybe it's not constant, but that energy of, I'm not safe in some way. The 7 of Rods can be about competition, but it can also be about sticking up for yourself, because you have 6 other rods here going, hey, no, we're going first. Me, 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 me. And you have this one here that's pushing and baying everyone back. Like, no, actually, you're going to hear what I have to say. So the Empress coming out here, there may be an encouragement to speak upon certain things that are uncomfortable, whether that's uncomfortable for you or uncomfortable for the listener, not because you are trying to cause offense, but because these may be taboo subjects. There's a need to really light a fire under your own throat chakra, you know, and really open it up, especially on past loves, especially on past pain. Okay, I'm going to move on now to the 4th house, which looks at a Chiron wound in home life, family relationships, and childhood. And I want to change decks again. Where would you like me to go? That one. Oh, okay. So I'm going over here. Now, can we have some clarity for 4th house wounds? How does this show itself? How does it show up? Oh, it shows up in a very loud way, in a very emotional way, in a very raw way is what I'm hearing. What do we need to see, please? I feel like it shows up in a way of, and I'm feeling this before I'm even getting the cards out, almost like when you want to speak on this, the emotions are larger than you're able to express. So it may come out in a really shouty way or in a really defensive way. And we have the gateway to meditation coming up. So I don't know if it kind of throws someone from trusting their own intuition or trusting their guides. Especially as you've got to think as well, is that if you have a Chiron wound in your 4th house, which is looking at your sacral chakra, you know, the place of creativity, it's your womb, your seed, the energy of creation, you know, birthing new things into life. This could look like generational trauma. This could look like trigger warning abuse. It can look at PTSD. Remember, I am not a doctor. I'm not a therapist in any way, shape or form. I do feel like the 4th house gets it the worst, simply because Cancerians are very sensitive. And I don't say that in a negative way. They're very emotionally sensitive. They're very deep feelers, but they're also deep lovers as well, and family people. So to have a wound in the place where you're supposed to feel safest the most really sucks. The gateway to meditation upside down, this could be blocking. It's the block between the sacral to the 3rd eye. Okay, so this could be second guessing yourself. We also have here the Hermit in reverse. So this is being overly critical to yourself or overly critical to others. It may show up also in the way that we project how we feel onto the wider community. So it could be getting very upset about injustices that you see in the community. It could be your cousin, it could be your best friend, it could be someone at work, getting embroiled in other people's drama because you feel so deeply and you want to be able to fix it. But becoming that fixer means that you're taking on other people's emotions as well, other people's drama, other people's stresses. And you have here the 9 of Cups. Now the 9 of Cups, I feel, is already coming out as a way. This is one of the tools that you can use to help yourself. And I heard self-soothe, because the 9 of Cups is about satisfaction. I think there is a need here to be able to place a barrier between yourself, almost like this ring of roses or this barrier of roses here. There's a need to protect your aura, especially against other people's drama. And also there's a need to stop and smell the roses. And I know that sounds very, very cheesy, but if your mind is on go, like just been pressed on all the time, and you're constantly giving to others, or you're constantly taking in other people's energy, that's exhausting. That's absolutely exhausting, and it's going to cut you off from your own intuition. There is a need to meditation is really, really, really needed for group 4, without a doubt, especially when it comes to the heart space, the solar plexus, the heart, and the throat chakra. So really it's that middle part. Those are the areas that you should be looking at, especially when it comes to the mental body, the emotional body, and the inner child. Being very gentle with yourself is important, and it's important to recognize when you should give your opinion and when you should just allow whatever's unfolding to unfold. Okay, because cancers have got a mouth on them, and not in a horrible way, because look, we've got the Knight of Cups coming out, we have the King of Pentacles coming out. These are, you know, those with like this wound, this Chiron wound, are great lovers, deep lovers. They will give the shirt off of their back, the last bit of money in their bank account, to the people that they love and they want to protect, but sometimes to their own detriment. And there is a need for boundaries here. There's a real need for strong boundaries, and for taking time to kind of balance your emotions by protecting your energy, by stepping back from whatever that drama may be, or whatever it is that was said to you that you're allowing to take up space rent free in your mind, and be like, do you know what? Let me just pause from that a moment. Why is that so important? Why is it so important that that person likes me, or that person did this or that? There's a need to pull yourself away so that you can be more objective. I'm going to leave that there. I hope that gave you some confirmation and clarity. And I'm going to be moving on to the 5th house, which looks at the wound of Chiron wound within creativity, inner child joy, and being dismissed, or being ignored, or kind of like being placed to the side in some way. So I'm going to change to another deck now. Where would you like me to go? That one. Which one? Oh, the little one down here. That's interesting. Okay. Let's see. And already cards have started to fall all over the place. So I feel like there is the Chiron wound within those who have it in Leo in the 5th house. It brings in some sort of like chaos or some sort of disorganization. Almost like there being a well-oiled machine and it's working really, really well. And the minute that their ego gets hit, because it's part of the ego. And I've always understood that our ego, like especially the part that hurts, the part that becomes inflated, is actually part of our wounded inner child, which makes sense that for the 5th house, it's creativity, inner child joy, and being dismissed. So when that Chiron wound is hit or activated or triggered, there is this energy of, well, everything was going great and now it's been ruined. I was having a great day and now all I can think about is the fact that you suck, or that you've said so-and-so to me, and it's taken a really bright day and made it turn cloudy. It's all encompassing. And when you think of children, and I'm not saying that your wound makes you a child in any way, shape or form, no, but it's activating your wounded inner child in a really big way, a big impactful way. But I work with children for over 21 years, and I say that because the experience I've seen of children is that they do see very much in black and white. They are either so joyful and happy in the experience that they're having at present, or they're not, or it's the worst thing ever, you know, but they're very present with their emotions. And there seems to be this kind of like flip of a switch from night and day when it comes to this wound and how it affects you as a whole. Can we get clarity on that with a card, please? Please and thank you for the 5th house, Chiron wound. Thank you. And we have the King of Pentacles coming out in reverse to the 6 of Pentacles. It could also affect the way that you spend, or the way that you show up for yourself on any given day, but especially at work. I don't know if it really affects your work, especially if you have like co-workers who are encroaching on your space, but it's not your space, it's your shine. It's the way that you create, it's the way that you express yourself. It's someone coming in with like a backhanded compliment. Like let's say you've just had your hair cut, like me. And someone goes, oh, okay, you went for that, did you? While everybody else is like, oh my God, you look amazing. And they're really like hyping you up. And it's that one person who's decided to be a bit ambivalent towards you that takes center stage in your mind. And this is what we have to look at. This is what we're going to look into, what tools we can use to kind of heal that. Because I feel that like those who are Leos or those who have this Chiron wound are very warm. That's what I'm getting, like really sunny dispositions, very big hearts, very protective of the ones that they love, very vivacious. But if you cross them, that Chiron wound comes out and they're just like, okay, I'm going to set everything on alight. You've got Queen of Cups coming out. Yeah, that's how it comes out. You can go from being like night and day, like I love you, and now I hate you and I never want to see you again. And look, the Queen of Cups is coming out. Yeah, the Queen of Cups is coming out without a doubt. So I think this is what you're being asked to look at, is why your emotions can flip so very quickly on what other people say. And that comes back to kind of seeing your own sense of power. If somebody dismisses you, they're actually missing out. They're missing out on an amazing opportunity to connect with you. And I think there's a need here, or an encouragement, to view interactions with others and how they affect your energy in a different light. And I'm not saying, oh, now you have to look at it like this, but it's taking time to work on that and being very, look, because you've got Six of Cups. Where did this start? Any wound that we have, any type of wound that we have, has a root to it. It has the first time that ever happened. And I think that for you, especially if this is resonating, doing the knot tying ritual would be really beneficial. It's something that I've done in my life, in my spiritual practice, in my healing practice, and it does help because it helps to give awareness of where these feelings are coming from, why we react the way that we do, and it kind of gives us peace as well. So I'll stop prattling on. The knot tying ritual is where you take a piece of twine, a piece of string, but it has to be thick enough, like not thread, and you tie a knot for the last time that you either felt dismissed or you felt like your emotions, you went from night and day. What happened? Kind of bring that to life in that you speak it out, and then you tie that knot. And then you think of the time before that happened. Was that yesterday? Was that a week before? Was it 3 weeks ago? What happened? You know, talk about it. And you're talking about it to yourself or to your guides. It's not really something that you're doing with someone else. You can do it in the mirror, you know. Talk about that. And then the time before that, and the time before that. And you keep going back in time until you get to the first time you ever felt like that. The first time someone dismissed you from your memory that you can remember. The first time that somebody was ambivalent or kind of overstepped their boundaries on your creativity or the way that you express yourself, whatever that is for you. And throughout that twine and that you've been knotting, is placing little things of gratitude here and there for what did you learn from that? Did you learn to stay away from that person? Did you learn breathing techniques that helped you out? And that was 3333 when I said that. When you get to the first time that ever happened for you, you burn it. You burn the crap out of that. You are made out of sunshine after all. Fire safety, don't do it inside your house. But you burn that, and you can burn it up to yourself. So you can burn it up to your Chiron wound to help alleviate it. You can burn it to your childhood self. But the whole point is that you then see that pattern of, okay, this is the reason why I react the way I do, because it was because of this first thing that happened and how these relationships actually made that worse or built upon that shadow part of myself. And it comes from my inner child. So this is very much about going back in time. This is how you heal this. Yeah, look, because you've got the Five of Swords coming out in reverse. There is this energy of, I don't know if you feel like you pounce into action when somebody slights you, whether or not that's physical or mental, like, okay, we're done, don't want to speak to you ever again. And this is the energy that you're being asked to look at, because it's like a fight, flight or freeze energy that's coming through. I hope that gave you some confirmation and clarity of what you already intuitively know. I hope that helped. I'm going to be moving on to the 6th house, which is looking at Chiron Wound in Virgo. So this is looking at perfectionism, overachieving, overworking, setting way too high standards, and very much being overly critical to yourself and to others. Now, would you like me to take another deck? No, I've been told to use this one. Okay, so we're going to have a look. Can I get, oh my God, that threw itself out. 8 of Swords has come out. So there you go. It's already coming out, and it's because I'm a Virgo. And as much as I don't have a Chiron Wound in Virgo, it's really going, okay, this is for the Virgos as well. It's looking at the 8 of Swords. The 8 of Swords is very much about being trapped in your own mind. This is how it shows up. Overthinking things, allowing things to spend, you know, too much time in your brain, too much time, that monkey mind going. You have the High Priestess in reverse here as well. So it can also show up in the way of people being mean, because Virgos are usually very, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but you know, they like to help others. They like to be of service. They take their job very seriously, but you can get some Virgos that when that Chiron Wound is activated and then ignored, that they become a little bit of a tyrant, you know, micromanaging other people and knowing better than others, being very cold and very reserved. The High Priestess in reverse is somebody who has a high position of power and completely abuses it. So if you feel like you're on that end of just feeling, I feel like there's bitterness coming through. So this is when somebody's, and I'm not saying that if you have a Chiron Wound that you are an utter B word and that you're just not a nice person. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that for some reason, Spirit wanted to show me that if you ignore this, if you allow your wound to be worn as armor rather than actually looking at it and going, hey baby, look, you've got 3 of Swords here. 3 of Swords. This is pain. This is actual pain. And you have the Page of Wands coming out as well. It's like you're being asked to nurture yourself like you would a small child. Don't say things to yourself or to others that you wouldn't say to a 4-year-old. That's what's coming out. Don't be mean to yourself. And if you feel like you're being mean to other people, there's a real need here to pull back and kind of articulate yourself and ask yourself why you're doing that. Because I know that Virgos, or having this 6th house Chiron Wound, we overanalyze. You're overanalyzing everything, maybe even picking apart yourself. Okay, now this perfectionism, and that's where perfectionism comes in. How do we heal this? What is the tool that we use to heal this, please? Thank you. We have here the 6 of Pentacles, okay, to the Page of Swords. It's how we are generous to ourselves and how we're generous to other people. If we feel like we are being overzealous in how we judge others or how we speak to others and to ourselves, there is a real need here to kind of remember compassion, or to start doing certain compassionate things. For someone here, the beginning of this healing journey, or the way that you recognize when you're feeling stressed or being a bit of a meanie or a grump, or things are just overactively working so hard that you feel like you're going to frazzle out, is watching something online that gives you that awe kind of feeling. So you have the Page of Swords here. This is about learning. It could also be doing courses on things like therapy or psychology, but I mean in actual present moment, when you feel like crap, or you feel like you are beating yourself up over something, or you're over analyzing something, is going online and actually watching something that gives back, that pours back into your cup. Because the 6 of Pentacles looks at how we are generous to others. It's charity, it's helping others so that we help ourselves. It's that sense of service again. So it could be that you watch, you know, people rescuing dogs, and you know how the dogs go from being emaciated to being taken care of and finding a family. Because I know that that's only like a 1 minute short, but within that time there's something that we resonate with that brings us back into the flow of giving. and being open to receive and giving ourselves those loving rays, or, you know, pushing up our vibrations. And I think that's really important. And I know that that's not going to be a tool that is going to heal everything, but I think for those who do overthink, who do have this wound in the 6th house, it's important to be very present. It's important to find smaller tools that you can use on a daily basis. I'm not saying that you should just be doom scrolling on YouTube, but finding things that calm that monkey mind. And even if it's just a distraction for 1 minute, just to slow down your breathing or bring down that stress, to lower that cortisol, is really important. I hope that gave you some confirmation and clarity on what you already intuitively know. And I say that with the 8 of Wands in reverse. This is something that will slow everything down for you. Meditation is very important here. The way that you write, converse is very important also. And how you give back. I feel like connecting into like podcasts or doing your own blog or something like that would also help someone. I'm going to leave that one there. I hope that helped. I'm going to move on to the 7th house. So if you have a wound in your Chiron, which is connected to your 7th house, that's looking at Libra. This is looking at abandonment, insecurities in relationships. Where would you want me to go back over here? Okay. Or that one. See, there's indecision. And I see that it shows up as indecision as well, because I grabbed this deck and then I was like, no, what about that one? So there's indecision here. I think this is trusting self. 1 or 2? 2. Okay, so I'm going to pop that one back down again. Oh my goodness. So it's going to show up as wanting. I know that with those who have Libra in their chart, for example, or have a lot of strong Libra, this is very much about seeing all the sides of the story before making a decision. So that being a wound could look like indecisiveness. It could look like, look at that, Lovers come out to the 2 of Cups. I was about to say indecision, or a lack of trust in relationships. Be that relationships in the family. This is not just love relationships. It definitely causes a burden within love relationships, because there is this energy of, well, I've been hurt before. How do I know that you're not going to do that? But if you walk into a relationship thinking that straight away, it kind of dooms it from the start, does it not? I would like to have, and the thing is as well, is that that's very interesting with the abandonment in insecurity in relationships. How does it show up as insecurity in relationships? It's second guessing self, maybe even second guessing other people, where other people would have, you know, made that choice and stuck to it, because you do have the 2 of Swords coming out. Is that the advice? No? Okay. Advice, please. Can I get advice for 7th house Chiron wounds? 7th house Chiron wounds. How do we heal from this? What tools would you like them to use? Okay. We have here Page of Pentacles. Okay. It definitely is. You have the Page of Pentacles, which looks at once you have something in your hands, once you have a decision to make, how you make that and what you want to invest in. Apologies for that. I just had a call come through. This is looking at being decisive, and I think it's being very decisive in how you feel and why you feel the way you do, because when it comes to abandonment, that's scary. That's a very as a large thing to have looming over you every time you get into a relationship. So I think it's being very, I heard cautious but open with what it is that you invest in. I mean, having this right here with the Pentacles talks about what it is that you're going to invest in, how it is that you're going to allow that to grow, what are you going to plant. So this is talking about decisiveness. There may be a need for like exercises in how you trust your intuition. And I heard talk therapy for someone here. Talk therapy is going to be really important. Yeah, you've got the 4 of Pentacles here and you've got the Devil. Talk therapy would be really important because it's going to help you notice any forms of control that you may be holding on to for a fear of that abandonment, or the fear with, or insecurities in relationships. Okay, and yours is actually the most cards that I've got out. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Most of the other ones have they have 3, maybe 4. So this is very much very Libra energy of having to, you know, really look at every single different option before making a decision. And that's not always a bad thing. It's not always a bad thing. But having the King of Swords out here as well to the Six of Wands, speaking your mind. Speaking your mind with others is important. Being heard is very, very important. Doing so in a safe space so that that person can help guide you through that healing narrative is very important, especially with the Devil coming up. I'm going to leave that there. I really hope that gave you some confirmation and clarity. I'm going to move on to the next ones, which is the 8th. The 8th house, having Chiron, a Chiron wound in your 8th house, is looking at Scorpio, and it talks about control and disempowerment. So let's have a look at how this shows itself. That's why you wanted me to come out. Let's see how this shows itself. How does it show itself, please? 8th house, Chiron wound. Oh my goodness, the High Priestess is coming out. Temperance is coming out. The 10 of Swords is coming out. This is almost like, it's not hiding behind, I had a know-it-all. Knowing, because the High Priestess is someone who's very tapped in. I feel like your intuition, and it's more than that, your psychic abilities are very on point. They're very on point. But when it comes to the actual wound that you have, there may be this energy of, because you are so tapped in, you already know when you're getting triggered. Self-awareness can be really, really frustrating when you have the self-awareness of why you are doing what you're doing, why you need to control, but then not actually having the tools or the know-how of how to stop yourself from doing that. Okay, the fact that we had these two come out, and then we had the 10 of Swords, so there is maybe a fear of it's not the fear of the unknown, there's something else going on here, and I want to get some more cards out, because this 10 of Swords is, it's like a fear of being backstabbed, a fear of everything going wrong. So you're being told that this manifests through signs and synchronicities, because you are so tapped into the divine, because you're so tapped into your guides, because they're able to come in and be like, hey, this is happening. It's really important that you are paying attention to the signs and synchronicities, whether they come through music, birds flying past, whatever that may be. And you have a very close connection to your guides. This is what's coming out here. Very close connection. And they do help you with balance. But it's important that you don't ignore what they're telling you. Because if you ignore what they're telling you, you may either misread what it is that they're trying to tell you, or you may not see it. What else about this fear of letting go? Ace of Pentacles is here to the 8 of Cups in reverse. Yeah. Do not just say, you know, well, I know I'm really connected to my guides, so I don't really need to do anything else. I'm fine when it comes to control. This is also something here. It's not arrogance, and I'm not calling you arrogant, and I'm apologizing if you feel like that's what I'm saying. I'm not. But when you already are a master of something, there could be this tendency to relax a little bit on the healing journey of specific things, because you've already achieved so much, and you're being told by your guides, don't invest in that. Be ever the student, always being what's the word, constantly evolving, constantly wanting to seek more. Because if you don't, you're going to miss out on some messages, especially when it comes to control, when it comes to disempowerment. This is how you disempower yourself, is by thinking that you have completely and utterly enlightened yourself. Anything else that wants to come out? Because the Ace of Pentacles being there is an investment. The Eight of Cups in reverse. See, I thought that was the Eight of Pentacles, but the Eight of Cups here, this is very much about continuing on the journey that you're already going on. And I find it very interesting that out of the entire read, out of all of these different wounds, your one looks more at it's not so much not relaxing, because you're allowed to relax, but not just to sit on your laurels and go, well, I've achieved this, that's fine. What's next? I don't have anything else to do. There's always stuff to do, right? Page of Pentacles, yes. Why do I want to get a different deck out? I feel like you need a second message. I feel like there's two messages here. Tell me about control. What's this about control? Like there's loads of purple or like deep indigo around you. Can you tell me some more about the wound in the 8th house of Chiron wound? Letting go is the energy I'm getting. There's a need here to let go. The let go of always being right. And I felt like there is like this resistance. There's this deep hue around you, like this beautiful, gorgeous colour around you. You are very wrapped up in the unknown in a good way. I mean, very, very connected to your ancestors, very, very connected to your shadow as well, in how to walk that, how to navigate that, and how to heal. But the sense of control almost wraps you up so tightly that you have armor around you, and there's a need to let go. And there may be a fear to do that. I think that something like hypnosis would probably really help you, and there may be a resistance to doing something like that because it means allowing someone into your energy. And if you have cultivated this almost like a deep well of knowledge, because I see like black around you, but not in a negative way. It's protective. If you've got so used to being in that, allowing somebody else to come in and it's almost like alter that is scary, because you have the Ace of Chalices in reverse. But I do think that something along the lines of hypnosis or regression would be really, really freeing for you. Really freeing, and would help you to let go of that need to control everything or keep things in a specific way. And it's going to really empower you. Really empower you. I've been told that's it. Okay, so I'm going to move on. I hope that gave you some confirmation and clarity in what you already intuitively know. And the ninth house Chiron wound looks at autonomy of choice. So this is looking at Sagittarius. This is looking at, for example, let's give an example. If you wanted to go to university and you've decided that you want to go to a specific university, but your parents are like, no, we want you to be right around the corner. And you've got to choose now. You've got to choose whether you travel and you go and see the world while, you know, doing this university course, or whether you stay and you appease. And look, I open it up on the 6 of Swords to the Lovers as well. This is almost like giving up on dreams to allow others to fill up. I don't know if someone's parents live vicariously through them, or if this wound allows other people to dictate the types of things that you can go and do. Tell me about this for the 9th house, please. We have the 5 of Chalices coming out to the Chariot. Yeah, it's almost like laying down and allowing other people to walk through, when really that portal is always yours. You are the portal. And I feel like those who have this wound are really, really good at like creating opportunities, creating pathways for others, but they ignore it for themselves. So there is a need here to really take autonomy of your own choice and putting yourself first. 6 of Swords is coming out as the wound. That's how it's showing itself. Being stuck or feeling like you can't make that choice. maybe even for some reason I'm getting the energy of being given an offer to move to New York, and say you live in Oregon or you live in California on the other side of the States, and you have this opportunity to go and work for a company that you've wanted to work with for a very long time, but doing so means that you are no longer going to be taking care of your younger siblings, and that, you know, your parents are going to have to find a babysitter because they've been using you before. And that choice is going to, there's this tearing of, well, I'm going to be letting down my family if I don't do this, but then you don't get to go off and do the things that you have manifested in, and you're allowing other people to live through you. Oh, I'll stay and I'll take care, I will raise the siblings so that you guys can work. It's giving that type of energy. And the way that you heal this with the Five of Chalices to the Chariot is you need to do it. There's something here about looking at the positives of what would happen if you were to move, if you were to, rather than being the walkway for others, if you just were the portal and you walked through it. And rather than worrying about how this is going to affect other people's lives, how it's going to affect yours positively, almost like giving yourself autonomy. It's not just choice, it's autonomy, full stop. The Chariot coming out is about healing. It's very, very Cancerian. So this is, for some reasons, this is very connected to someone's family here. It could be a childhood wound, or it could be an expectation. I don't know if this wound is connected to you having to grow up too quickly, having a lot of responsibilities placed on you when you were younger. The Chariot coming out here as an encouragement, as a tool of what could be used to help you along this path, is taking those risks to go out and see the world, taking those risks and taking those opportunities and seeing the positive in it, not worrying or guilt tripping yourself, or allowing other people to guilt trip you into staying, or into not having autonomy in your own choices. And if you say, no, I'm going to do that, and they're like, but are you really going to do that? Did I stutter? Not okay, maybe you're right. No, I've made my decision. And if it messes up other people's plans, it messes up other people's plans. Take it as it resonates, of course. I'm going to leave it there. I really hope that gave you some confirmation and clarity. Now I've been told to go on. Okay, anything else for choice, autonomy and choice? The Orchard. The Orchard coming out is pretty cool as an ending card, simply because the Orchard talks, and what I understand of the Orchard is that anything can grow. You don't know what's in there. There's a path, there's more than one path that you can take, and really life is there for you to live in the way that you want to, but you're only going to do that if you take those choices, if you take those chances, if you take those opportunities. And if there are people that are trying to sway you from that, it's really coming up with being your own lioness or being your own lion and going, I have no idea how it's going to result. I don't know whether or not it's going to be safe, as in, and I don't mean walking down a darkened alley, that's awful for you, but taking that job in New York, for example, you might get there and absolutely hate the job and want to come back, but at least you tried, at least you had that autonomy of choice and said, I tried this, not for me. Okay, I hope that gave you some confirmation and clarity. I'm going to move on to the next one, which is having a Chiron wound in the 10th house. Now this looks at the need for approval and respect to their own detriment. So this is almost like, this seems to be connecting into this one, which is very interesting. Not that one. Where would you like me to go? There. Okay. Let's have a look-see, shall we? One more. I'd like to get some clarity on, yeah, do you know what? This deck did not want to shuffle. There seems to be this rigidity that comes from the wound in the, like the Chiron wound in the 10th house to do with Capricorn. Because Capricorn looks at our work, it looks at career, it looks at things that, you know, catapult us into success. But when we're looking at the wound within this can be burnout. This can be doing things because we want people to see us in a specific way. It's like working in a family business and the dad or the mum or whoever it is that's now the CEO is very, very elusive and very judgmental of, let's say, this person who has the wound within their 10th house. So they work all manner of hours. They cut off speaking to certain people. Their family doesn't see them, you know, and they work so hard because they think, well, I'm going to be the next in line. And after 50 years of working, they don't get that promotion, or they don't get that, you know, well done, you've done such a good job. And so they're working themselves to a bone just for somebody else to look at them and be like, you did a really good job, and they never get that. And even if they do get that, they've then set themselves up to this standard of, I am going to work like I'm a machine, even if my body is not one. And as I get older, I have ailments and I have stress and I have high cholesterol or I have high blood pressure because of the amount of work that I've had to put in, or the amount of energy that I have had to give just to get a tiny bit back. I feel like this wound could have been born out of having narcissistic parents or family members. Again, I am not a therapist in any way, shape or form, but this, excuse me, this reads to me like somebody who has constantly had to fight to be seen, and fight to be seen in a positive light. And we need to have a look at how what tools we can use to help heal this. So how does this actually show up, please, Spirit? How does this show up? Three of Cups is coming out. So this shows up actually through this person always working very hard to attain these achievements. They're the ones that are the overachiever. They are very similar, it seems, to like the 6th house wound of wanting to overwork. They're the ones that have all of these awards. Maybe when they were younger, you may have had like a lot of soccer awards, a lot of gymnastics, you were in all these different teams. There's a need here to keep a certain standard, and if you work anything below that, then it's awful. It's like going home and saying that you got a B rather than an A, and your parents are just so distraught and angry and disappointed in you. How did you get a B and not an A? A B is a really good grade, and they should be patting you on the back anyway. It shows up in the energy of, if I do any less, then I am less worthy. Okay? And how do we then, what tools do we use to help heal this? What tools do we use to help heal this? Please and thank you. What tools do we use, please? Thank you. The stars come out to the 6 of Swords. This is, I heard online communities will help you. The star also looks at beauty. It looks at the beauty on the outside as well as the inside. There is a need here for someone to let go. There seems to be a running narrative for some of these, and even if you do not have your Chiron wound in specific houses that I've read before, and you're reading this one and this is yours, you may want to go back and listen to some of the other ones, because there may be parts in here that really resonate for you. The star has come out as a tool to help you, and I do think that also with somebody being as work orientated or as hardworking as you are, I've got to say also that there may be addictions. It may show up as addictions, whether that is drinking after work or drinking at the end of the day to take the edge off, partying too hard, taking recreational substances, overeating, not eating enough, working out to the point of, like, you know, harming your body. This online communities may help you. There is a need to connect with other people that are either going through the same thing, or people who are able to help you in a professional way, simply because if you it's not saying that there's something wrong with you, and I think that's really important that that's stated, but there's a need to hear from other people who are going through the same thing, so that you don't feel so alienated or like it's just you against the world. The fact that you have the Six of Swords here, this is going to help you move away from constantly feeling like you have to prove yourself, because this is about having to prove yourself to someone. Is there anything else that wants to come out for this? Yeah, Knight of Pentacles. This is about finances as well. Constantly wanting to chase. I don't even feel like it's money as much as it is being given that pat on the back of, well done, you've achieved all of these glitzy and glamoury things. And you've got the Five of Pentacles here. So there's also an encouragement here to look at lack mindset, because you can have a penthouse in one of the most expensive parts of town and have 15 Bentleys outside. But if you are constantly chasing that approval, I have to work harder, I have to work harder, I have to work harder, there is still that lack mindset, because the lack mindset comes from, if I don't get this approval, then I am not worth anything. And I don't think that is true at all. I think that you are worthy. You are worthy of having that pat on the back, but that shouldn't be the reason why you're working so hard in the first place. And I say that with love. So I hope that gave you some confirmation and clarity on what you already intuitively know. I'm going to move on to the next one, which is, if you have a Chiron wound in the 11th house, this is looking at isolation, okay? Which makes sense, because this is a wound in Aquarius. Aquarians are very sociable. They like to network. It also looks at like your wider communities, your friendship circles, and we as social beings, we as human beings, we're social creatures. You look back at caveman era and, you know, Neanderthals. If you were isolated, if you were kicked out of the tribe, out of the cave, out of whatever, you wouldn't survive. You would be eaten that night. You're done. So the need to be connecting with other people is a very natural thing. So feeling left out, or feeling that you aren't involved, or that you don't connect, that can be really difficult. Shall I use this deck? No. What deck would you like me to use? This one. Okay. I'm going to use this one here. Ooh. Let's see what would like to come out. So let's see how this shows up. How does this wound, how does it rear its head? Seven of Daggers has come straight out to that Eight of Crystals. So this could be gossip. I don't know. The Seven of Daggers in reverse, this is learning truths. This is learning truths or learning information that has a weight to it, because the Seven of Swords, this is the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is about deceit. It's about, you know, people just not telling the truth, or painting some sort of illusion over your third eye that isn't true. When it's in reverse, this is learning about this, and learning about this in a way that really impacts you either mentally, emotionally, spiritually, maybe even physically. The Eight of Crystals next to it, this is doing it in a masterful way. So it could be that people gossiping or being nasty triggers this energy of feeling left out. So like not knowing about information and finding out from other people, not being told to your face about certain things, rumors. It is giving me rumors, gossip, kind of grapevine kind of things. Those things seem to affect someone who has this wound, because they feel like, well, why wasn't I not trusted in being told this stuff? Why am I finding out? Why am I the last one to know? The Knight of Wands is coming out to the Queen of Crystals. So this is talking about, this is abundance, but it's not just abundance. I don't know if this is a mother wound as well. This may be connected to a mother wound, or feeling ungrounded, because the Queen of Crystals is coming out, and the Queen of Crystals is the Queen of Pentacles. And as much as she's wearing like a bikini, she's very busty. So I'm going to like put my finger over that for now. The Queen of Crystals also looks at how you nurture how you foster growth. And if we're talking about how this actually manifests itself, or how you'll know that this is being triggered within you, it is that energy of why do I feel like it's something that builds up or welds up? Now, I don't know if this manifests as depression. I am not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I cannot diagnose you, but if you feel like you do need mental health support, please ensure that you are reaching out to your general practitioner, to your doctor, to your therapist if you have one, and if not, at least to your friends who can help support you, because no one's an island. It's okay not to be okay as long as you're not doing it by yourself. This is coming through like maybe a bit of a mother wound. I don't know. You've got the devil coming out underneath as well. This could be also the energy of being triggered by something that is said, music, or why is this giving me like PTSD? And it's like triggering something from your past. This is shown in that way. It's shown in a way of some sort of overwhelm coming in. Tell me about this overwhelm, because we want to know how to recognize this, right? Oh, okay. This overwhelm comes in with a lot of, look, the 8 of Cups comes out. We've had many cards just throw themselves out. So this does come out in a very overwhelming way. 8 of Cups. You then have the 5 of Cups coming out. You have the 9 of Wands and you have the Emperor. Okay. It manifests itself and then it's hidden. That's what I'm getting here. I don't know if you hide the way that you feel when it's almost like feeling crestfallen. Like when it's not being involved, when you're not being involved, or you're not, you know, added to that party list. Or, and I don't think it's as trivial as that, but you have the 9 of Wands coming out. This is the wounded warrior, which I find very interesting because the Chiron is seen as the wounded healer. Okay. I know that also it may be triggered when you see people in the world around you going through similar things. So I don't know if people that are homeless, beggars, people that, you know, may need extra support, it may trigger something within you as well, that it's almost like you projecting how you feel. It's not projection. It's not. It's reminding you of that wound. So I don't know if you get very upset when it comes to seeing people that have less advantages. You could be a humanitarian. I don't know if you work with charities, you could give to charities. There's something about wanting to help others in a very big way. You have the Emperor coming out, and that's why I was getting this. But I'm also getting the energy of not always expressing how you feel. There's more like doing, like actionable. If you see something on television, for example, there's been a disaster by the coast and there's oil everywhere, rather than, you know, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, next day you're down there helping out if you can, you know, down there, gloves on, what can I do? How can I help? It's that energy. And I think that that's also going to be part of how you continue to heal the wound within yourself, is through those actions, through connecting with causes that really bring passion in for you. So can we get clarity on the tools we use to heal this wound, please? Thank you. 7 of Crystals, 7 of Pentacles. So it's not just about action, it's the way that you reflect on things. Because the 7 of Pentacles, or the 7 of Crystals, is looking back at how far you've come, looking back at how you planted a seed a really long time ago, and that was that 1 Ace of Pentacles, and how you've cultivated on that. Because I do think that those who have this wound in Aquarius, or have this wound in the 11th house, are very good at helping others. They're very good at organizing and putting into action things for like larger causes, but you may be ignoring how far you've come, or you haven't given yourself credit in how far you've come. And I think that's a really important thing, is knowing that. I heard write it down. There's a need here to write something down. You may need to write a gratitude list, but more than that, it could be journaling. gratitude list, affirmations. What am I grateful for today? And doing that once a week and actually writing, not just I am thankful for being alive or I'm thankful for getting out of bed, but sitting down and writing a page. How you're feeling. How did you feel last year? Where were you last year? Where were you 365 days before? How far have you been able to come since then? And even if you feel like the growth has only been that much, that's growth. That's movement. That's progress. I'm gonna, yeah, look, you've got the Page of Wands coming out. I'm going to leave that there. I really hope that gave you some confirmation and clarity of what you already intuitively know. And I'm going to move on to the last one. So if you have your Chiron wound in the 12th house, that's looking at Pisces. This is looking at how you balance your emotional reactions to others' words, but it's not just that. I was getting the sense of how others' words affect you, because that is balancing emotions, but it's how they affect you, or how, because Pisces are very sensitive. They're very sensitive, and I know that they don't like confrontation, but can become very reactive. Very reactive. Would you like to go here or here? Where would you like me to go? There. Okay. So let's have a look. And I think that, you know, words are very powerful. They call, you know, spelling because they're extremely powerful. And when it comes to Pisces, there is this energy of taking everything to heart. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. I don't mean that in a judgmental way either. But how things are said to you and how you assimilate that information seems to be on a very emotional based foundation, where your emotional body is regulated very much with how you speak to yourself and how others speak to you. Now, I wanted to know about and look, don't give up, protect that which you have created, have courage and believe in yourself. There's something here maybe with not believing or worthiness. Worthiness is coming through. Okay. Unity was upside down. So this could be looking at religious factors or faith growing up also. And you have 9 of Air, expecting the worst, self-fulfilling prophecies and sleepless nights. And then you have 10 of Fire underneath. Too much work, accept help from others, life is out of balance, stress-related health concerns. So this is how it's showing up. This is how this wound shows up, is by assuming that either people are going to say the worst thing, and if they do say it, it really hitting, flipping hard. And we need to figure out why. 10 of Fire, it comes through as a burden or being very heavy on you. And you've got the 9 of Fire coming out again. Don't give up, protect which you have created, have courage and believe in yourself. So I don't know if it comes up as imposter syndrome or it comes up as, oh, I thought that. Okay, so that's what it is. Somebody just said something really mean and it must be true if they're saying that, because I already feel that about myself. Why do you feel that about yourself? Why is that coming out like that? And it says here, too much going on at once, the need to make a decision, consider a more playful approach to Earth. This is connecting to your inner child. I don't know if when you were younger, you were told too many times, no, don't do that, or you're not clever, or you're not handsome, you're not pretty. We have these codes that are then, whether directly or indirectly, they're planted in us like a seed. And we believe them. And that's why I was getting like religion or faith or something like that. It's because when we are children, if our parents are vegetarian, we're vegetarian. We don't really have a choice in it. We don't have the autonomy to be like, no, I want to eat chicken. Or, you know, if our parents decide that, you know, they may have come from the culture where you have Hinduism, then you are Hindu. There is no choice there to go, well, actually, I want to be Christian or I want to be atheist until you're older. There is the energy here of something being planted when you were younger that has become almost like a core self-belief, and it seems to raise its head and go, I'm here, when somebody says something that reminds you of this, and it may even be on like a subconscious level, because too much going on at once, the need to make a decision, consider a more playful approach, the inner child here seems to be shut down a little bit. And I'm not saying that you're broken. I'm not saying that, you know, you're not on your healing journey in any way, shape or form. No, no, no. It's just saying that your inner child seems to be quiet at the moment. And your inner child is beautiful. Look at her. Look at her shine. Look at that beautiful glow. I don't know if when you were younger, like you were quietened or your voice was quietened or there's something about your glow being so beautiful and it being dampened down to embers. So you're really being encouraged. The way that you help, the tools that we have here to help heal this is connecting with your inner child. Connect with your inner child. And I was talking in another one of these previously about, I think it was the wound in the sick house. Okay, noisy ravens. So you may want to go back and actually look at the sixth house, because I don't know if you've got Virgo in your chart and there's a need for you to look at that. But it was talking about how if you wouldn't say it to a 4-year-old, do not say it to yourself. If somebody says something mean or says something that is disrespectful or disempowering or just not high vibing, and you feel that pang within yourself and you're about to say, well, yeah, that's true. Would you say that to your little inner self? Would you say that to you when you were 5? Because if you wouldn't, you stop and you were like, no, that's not true. And you pull your inner child closer and tell them that you love them. I feel like this is very much to do with inner child work of pouring some love in there. Take your time with it. There's no rush here. You have also got underneath renewal, Archangel Jeremiah, review and evaluate a favorable assessment of the facts. Time to move in a new direction. Come now. This is about nurturing your inner child and seeking out play. And I know that sounds silly as we are adults, but going on a swing when you are 35 or you're 50 or whatever, it's the best feeling ever. Go on a seesaw. Go and make slime in your home, in your kitchen, you know, or wherever. Put your hands in loads of Smarties. Do things that you would have wanted to do when you were little, but you were told to be quiet, or children are seen and not heard. Whatever it is that you liked doing as a sense of escapism or a sense of expression that lit you up, you could do for hours on end. Go and start doing that. Start incorporating that into your week, into your day, even if it's only for 5 minutes. It could be taking a feather and just rubbing it on your hand. It could be sensory. It could be laying in the grass, looking up at the clouds. There is a need here to connect back in with your inner child because it's really calling to you. And I think the more that you do that, the more it's going to help that voice inside you that tells you that other people's opinions are more important than your own. I'm going to leave it there. I really hope that gave you some confirmation and clarity on what you already intuitively know. If anyone here is new to my channel, this resonated, I'd love you to hit on the like, the subscribe and on the notification bell so you can see more of my content and when I post. I love you guys. Stay safe. I will see you in the next one. Bye.